Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Joining me today is Monzir Hamdin. Monzir is famous over mainstream media as the winner of My Kitchen Rules MKR 2022. Along with his partner Janelle, Monzir was able to pull off an underdog win on the show while remaining true to his ethnic roots reflected in the selection of the dishes that they made. But if you dig slightly deeper beyond MKR into Monzir's story, there is so much more to explore. Arriving in Australia with his family from Sudan, Monzir was originally a refugee from a war-stricken country. His younger years were spent encountering the many hurdles that immigrants have to face when trying to create a new narrative for themselves in a new country. Personally, what I loved about chatting with Monzir was the fact that he is so humble as a person to talk to. He has absolutely no false assumptions, no hang-ups about who he is or what his story is. He owns his history with pride and uses it as a catalyst in his struggles for success. Now, it is this struggle, these kind of stories, this is what we wish to highlight in this podcast. In the research that I have done for this episode, I have developed a huge amount of respect and empathy for Sudan as a country and for the Sudanese people. If anybody is interested in the country's history, I'll post a link to a short explainer video in the description. It's very helpful to gain some kind of gauge on what the country is like and what it's going through. And it also gives a lot of context into Monzir's story. As always, I thank you guys for your support. If you are new to the podcast, kindly consider subscribing. If you are already subscribed, kindly give us a like and a comment. Your engagement with my videos helps this channel grow. Also, if you haven't done already, check out all of our short form content on all of our social media platforms. All of the highlights from this episode and from all of my past conversations are going to be up there, so do check that out. But anyways, without further ado, this is my conversation with Monzir Hamdin in The Gap. One of the things that I always wonder about people who come on reality shows is once you go on a reality show like MKR or something and then you win it, eventually people start thinking that, oh my god, you're a celebrity now, and you must be doing so well for yourself, getting sponsorship deals here and there and everything.
Get that all the time.
Yeah, but like what's the reality like?
Reality, you're a normal person.
Yeah.
So you think you go on a TV show, you come back and you think you're done, that's it, you made it? Nah, that's not the way. Probably people don't even make it nowhere until like 5-6 years time. And then plus you come out, you still go back to 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes I walk on the street, no one realizes still.
Yeah.
And people like on social media or something, the fans of yours, they've been like, oh wow. But a lot of people in Australia, everyone's too busy, everyone's caring about their own thing. So like, just go back to normal 9 to 5, go back to your daily job. That's it, basically.
So what kind of difference did you feel like once you came back from MKR, those 3 months that you spent out shooting on the show and then coming back? Like, what do you feel that there's a difference now in how people treat you in your immediate circle? Yeah,
it is true. You feel something different. The energy shifts, and you feel like some type of different pressure because you feel like, I came out of a show, people are gonna, everyone looks at you differently. They don't treat you the same as what it used to be before. But your close friends will, and other. But when you're out in the street, like people are like, you made it now, man. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why are you working?
But that's not the reality.
It's like the thing. The TV shows aren't gonna pay my bills all the time.
Yeah.
Once you win, even if you win like 100 games, I'm gonna last you for a year or two. So I was like, I need to go back to 9 to 5. I need to do my thing.
Yeah. When I was doing my research for this conversation, right? So, like, I like to come a little prepared to have a little conversation with somebody, try to contextualize what their life is like, right? Yes. So, I did my research on Sudan and Sudanese history. Plus, I also did a little bit of my research on MKR. And, like, I saw a few clips of you and, while you and Janelle, you guys were on the show. What I found was, I developed a huge amount of empathy for Sudan as a country and for the Sudanese people, in historically whatever they've gone through since independence and everything, that. And then for your family to come over here and your own story, it also gave me a huge amount of respect for, people like yourself who try to get through what they have been through, coming over here and then trying to make something of themselves. And I also found that in those clips that I saw of yours, like you're somebody who's mostly like a silent type. Yes, you don't talk too much, do you?
I'm just a silent killer.
Yeah.
I just like to. Sometimes I just like to. I'm that more of the observe and report, like that kind of person where I see my surroundings.
Yep.
and I act the way I act as thing, got into the behavior. But as well as like I am a kind of chill person as a cucumber. That's why I think that's what me and Junoon balanced out on the show.
Yeah.
She's the type of girl like, oh, she's a bit crazy in that, but I'm like more chill, so we balance it out. I'm like not much talkative as well, but I do like to educate people every now and then about the history, about the food, the culture. Yeah. And that's why we went on MKR. Like you said, not much people, they want people to see is like, oh, this guy, he looks like he was born here, he had it easy and stuff. But the backstory of me coming or me making it to that level was like, there's a lot of work behind it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that made me this way.
Yeah.
Where like I'm more like silent person, or more like I just want to go get out, you know? I have to go hustle because the way I'm upbringings. That's why
that's what I thought. And you know, as the expression goes, that calm waters run deep. Yes. Right. So if you're the silent type, I also found that you know you're a person who might talk less, but whatever you do say, you speak of it with conviction. 100%. Right, and you know what you're talking about. You don't just talk out of your ass.
As they said, most of the people that they talk less, they're more good listeners.
Exactly.
So we listen and we learn more because you're not in and interrupt and you're like, oh, you want to talk, get your message across. You want to, sit there, absorb the, all the knowledge and from everyone, and then you learn it and then you apply it to yourself. Exactly.
So, like as with the format of the podcast, right? So we'll just get right to the origins of the story itself, right? Perfect. So, for people who don't know, Monzir came over to Australia with his family at the age of
10.
At the age of 10 from Sudan. And Sudan, as like people who are not aware of the history, is a country that has been plagued by civil war and military coups and all kinds of democratic upsets throughout its history. And even recently, I think it's about 7 years ago, if I'm not wrong, 2015 is when the country actually split into northern and southern Sudan as well.
That's when split the country into two. Sudan used to be the biggest country on the continent, Africa, and they split it because civil war and the two countries that had
because of the sectarian differences between the north and the south, right?
That's true.
And when you dig a little deeper into it, now I'm not sure how much like how fond you are of going into history and
I love my history and I love it. I love it to hear from other people's point of view as well. So I was like, because it gives me that knowledge, inside knowledge as well. And then that's why I was like, I love talking about history. History is the best thing.
So based on what in my limited understanding, what I understood was that up until 1956, the country of Sudan was colonized by the British and Egypt in a coalition, right? But then the point is that after the Second World War, and this has happened like in so many different parts of the world, including my country of Pakistan, and I had Ade over from Nigeria, and it was very similar in his country as well, that post-colonization after World War II, whoever the colonizer was, whether it was the French, whether it was the British, everybody was in a hurry to leave. And in that hurry, they just abandoned the colonies that they had, right? They left them with good militaries, good civil infrastructure maybe, and maybe a good bureaucracy. But what was lacking in all of these countries was political leadership. They did not have any homegrown leadership. They did not have any unions that could, rally the people together. And in the absence of that, what happens is that because the people are so disorganized and they cannot form a democratic front, that is when the military comes in and tries to control all that power for itself. And then in Sudan's case, in northern Sudan and southern Sudan, you have that the sectarian differences between the Muslims in the north and the Christians in the south. Plus, there's also the difference of Arabs in the north and Africans, or more closely Afro people in the south. And that again was, if you go into the history of it, that difference between the north and the south, that was created as a divide and rule policy by the colonizers.
100%. It's all distractions. All the things happen, I believe in, like, happens for a reason and then happens for distractions so they can get something out of it.
Exactly.
Like you say, I don't know who come in and then you see the south had oil and the north has this. So to get to that oil, to get to that, I have to create a distraction in the middle of it and make them fight, or divide and conquer and divide them and then conquer. So it makes it easier because if they come together, it's more powerful. So I think, and coming from Sudan as well, Sudan has the biggest, like the history is very deep and it's long, like, like years back then when I think it was the English tried to come colonize or try to come in and take Sudan and then we chased them out. I think Sudan is one of the countries that didn't get colonized from back then. So we had our warriors and people with the right horse back in the days, not even like soldiers, had no guns, but they used to hide in the mountains and see in the Nugget mountains and stuff, and then we chased the British or the English out. So that's why Sudan stayed true to itself and the way it is. And as well in the history as known, like I got told that as a child and stuff. We had Turkish that backed us up as allies, the Sultan and stuff. So we had that as well, that power. So most of the African countries you see in Africa, you got colonized. You got the Congo, you got the South Africans, you got the other ones conquered. And then when the English and them they came in, we chased them out. They went back down, I think, to Egypt, towards Egypt. Because if you realize as well, say back in the days, like you had the Egyptians where they say they had the pharaohs and all them
The pyramids.
pyramids and stuff. But in history, if you research, what country has the most pyramids will be Sudan. Sudan got the most pyramids.
Yeah, that's what I was coming to. Like Sudan has its own pyramids. Like I found that out last night, and they're much larger in number than the Egyptian ones. Yeah.
So I will say, because as well, the Nubians, you see all the pharaohs and stuff. They all like you see them on the drawings and stuff. They're all brown colored.
Yes.
So they all came from Sudan.
Obviously.
So mostly
the cradle of civilization, basically. Sudan is basically the area where civilization actually sprang up from.
So mostly we started from that area. So
definitely.
And the religion, Islam, that just I think was born into that because we stayed as true to that, And then the South, I'm not sure about the history of the South. I haven't studied it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wouldn't know what to talk about it. But that's the only thing I know about Sudan, my history.
So for yourself personally, where does that story begin? Like, tell us something about like coming up in Sudan. Where were you born? What was early life like?
So my history is like, I grew up in a big family, large family. So now we're a family of 12, mom and dad and 10 of us.
Wow.
So so it was a big family. Back then in 2000. So we flee Sudan in 2001.
Okay.
In 2001 or 1990, we flee Sudan because it's civil war or between the north and south, but they were like small wars, but they will come in and disrupt. So we flee to Egypt, to get refuge and then to feel safe, to get the safety. So mom and dad sold everything, left everything behind, and we went to Egypt. We stayed there for 5 years, and my dad had like 2 jobs. My mom was doing, and they had 8 kids at that time, and mom and dad. So the older ones will go work, and mom and dad will go work. My dad will go to the UN in Egypt, like basically twice a week or once a week, like every week. Like he goes there from the morning till night to get us that visa or the refugee to get here.
Yeah.
The PR. So as soon as we stayed there for 5 years, we learned a little bit of the culture. We adapted in. Good thing is that Arab countries as well, so we could understand. And then from there, as soon as we got granted to come here as refugees, so my dad was like perfect. But I see, got the chance, came here, grew up and everything. So I was like, basically came as a refugee. We did the hard yards. Came from humble beginnings, so I went through the struggles to become here. So now I was like, everything I do, sometimes I reflect back on that. I was like, my mom and dad didn't brought me here.
Yeah.
To just do nothing, sit on my hands.
Of course.
So I was like,
that's a recurring theme I see in all of the different immigrants that I see, especially people who come from more impoverished countries, right?
Yeah.
Like myself or yourself or people who from like Ade came from Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
So what I felt is that the nature of hustle is very strong amongst these people, and we have this drive that we've got a lot to prove, a lot to live up to because of the sacrifices that our parents made on our behalf.
100%. We do have the hustle culture in us, because if you come from humble beginnings or you come from a struggle, like you have that. It's not trauma kind of. I don't call it trauma, but it's like you need to live up to that person. You don't want to go back to that place. You made it so far. Now the only way is up.
You have to build on it.
Yeah, you have to build on it. So it's like, and every time you see the sacrifices of your parents, you're like, oh man, I'm just here drinking, I'm going to jail, I'm doing this. Like, you're wasting your life basically.
Yeah.
These guys did all they can do for you to get a better life, and you're wasting it. So it's like, that's where my drives comes from. Sometimes like when I feel like I'm down, whatever, I'm like, no. I'm gonna get myself up. That's what I gotta do. So
So you say that you were 10 when you left Sudan.
I was 5 when I left Sudan.
And you were 10 when you came here.
I was 10 when I was here. So we stayed in Egypt for 5 years.
5 years.
So when we flee Sudan, I was like 5 years old. My older brothers and sisters, they were a bit older, but my 2 younger siblings weren't born.
Where are you in that list of 10 people?
I'm the middle child, so I got all the pressure on me. So the middle child. So when we left Sudan, we went to Egypt. We grew up there. Like when we first got there, it's like we didn't have no place to live because we were migrants. We didn't have money and stuff. We sold everything, and then even in Egypt, because it's like a country, it's a poor country as well. It's schooling, you have to pay fees. So in Egypt, growing up, like 2 of my older siblings will go to school. The rest couldn't go to school because they couldn't afford the school fees. And my dad would work 2 jobs, and my mom would stay at home, look after us, and then she would cook and clean and stuff. Stay home, mom. And then just keeps going, and then we keep moving around to look for better places. But as well as like we stayed in Egypt, and then we stayed in 2-bedroom apartment with like 10 people.
10 people, like 10 siblings, 2 parents and 8 siblings.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's 10 of us in 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So we were like, say 6 of us will sleep on a king size bed sideways.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
And then my older brother will sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Or my sister will sleep on the couch. My brother will sleep on the floor on the thing. And then mom and dad had their room, and we're small, and we survived. You know. So it was like that thing where like, you know, all that struggle builds character as well. So we lived that. So now it's like when we came to Australia, everything was easier because we lived already the hard.
Yeah,
hard yards.
you've seen a lot worse than what Australia would have to offer, right?
100%. So now it's like when I go through stuff, I don't complain much because I'm like, if I did that, I can do anything, you know.
Yeah, it also gives you a huge sense of like coming into Australia. I've been here 5 years, right? It always gives me like a great sense of gratitude for whatever you have.
Yeah.
You know, even when times are tough, like the times that we're living in right now, cost of living and the rental crisis and everything, right? But even with all of that, you still have a great sense of gratitude for what you have at the moment because you've seen a lot worse than that.
Yeah, 100%. And when people like, with COVID as well, a lot of people got impacted and say, well, mental health, I got this. I do respect that and stuff, but I was like, there's actually people, and until now, I don't say I had it the worst. There's people had it, you know.
Yeah, of course,
so
of course. And when I say that you have that huge sense of gratitude, the immediate emotion that comes to me after that is a sense of guilt and a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
That okay, you are one of the lucky few who actually made it further ahead than the other people, right? So now that comes with a sense of responsibility that you are now also a spokesperson for that community.
100%. And that's why when actually jumping on the show, and then realizing like at the beginning I was like, I'll just do it, you know, just to get it done over with. I just go for it, you know. And whatever happens. And then after halfway I realized I was like, I can actually do something with it, you know.
Yeah.
I can educate people. I can showcase Sudan. I have the responsibility now to put my country on the map.
Yeah.
And to educate people about our food, our culture. I know my country didn't do much for me. It's what I can do for my country now.
Exactly.
So I was like, that's what I went in there, and I was just like, I'm gonna go on the line. And then like the good thing after the show finished, like the love and the thing that came from as well from back home. They put us on like TVs back there at home, the news, like they write articles from Sudan, like, you know,
in Sudan about you.
And then people like they'll call from overseas and tell my mom and dad, congrats and anything. They'll know about it. I was like, that was like meshed. You know, that's the love we got. So it was like, I really appreciate that.
And plus, anybody who might have seen it back in Sudan, you don't know how many people might have been inspired by that. Yeah. You know, some people, like a younger version of yourself might have seen that on TV and he would have been like, if Monzir can do it, then I can do it maybe.
100%. You see, I seen one of the comments says, oh, the okra made it overseas, so that's when we're going to be next. Yeah. So like, you know, the dish that one thing, so we made it overseas, so now we're going to be next. So like, that gave him the sense of things like, oh, look, these guys are doing good there. Yeah. So, you know, one day, hopefully will be us.
Yeah. So. How do you guys usually cook your okra? Like, is it like a curry?
Yeah, we cook like a curry. Yeah. So normally,
I asked this because like back in Pakistan, like okra is a huge deal back in Pakistan. Yeah. We love it.
Okra is the best. Like you can cook it in so many ways.
So many ways, yeah.
And a lot of countries they have it as thing. You can when you say okra, I say okra, everyone's like, oh, that's a Lebanese dish, that's a Sudanese dish, that's a Egyptian dish. I was like, nah, man, it's versatile. It's for everyone. You know, you can't claim it. Yeah. That's the thing. So we do cook it. We fry it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it in the curry so it stays hard. Or sometimes we put lemon on it and then we'll clean and wash it, leave it for a while, and then we put it in there so it doesn't break. Yep. And then when you cook it, slow cook it as well. It dissolves in your hands.
Yeah, so it becomes a little more slimier. Yeah.
You can cook it with meat, or you can just have vegetarian, just normal. So it's like a million ways to cook it.
That brings back a lot of memories. Like ever since I've been in Australia, I haven't had okra that much. But it brings back home memories of home. You know, whenever I look at it. We back in Pakistan, again, we do the curry as well. But what I personally enjoy is that we deep fry it. Yeah. So it becomes a little crunchy. You know, and then we toss it in with whatever else we're eating. So it's kind of like a side dish. You know, like crispy okra side with it.
You do have like a lot of similarities in a lot of dishes.
Yes.
With Pakistan, with all the other countries.
The Middle East.
As Middle Eastern and I think Sudanese as well. Sudanese food more inspired by Middle Eastern food. Middle Eastern food is inspired by Sudanese food. That's what I would like to say. But yeah, we do have all the dishes together, and even like Pakistan and them like they have the same dishes. Yeah, and you would like be surprised how similar stuff.
I went to Ade's restaurant, right, Little Lagos, and I was like, that was my first time trying Nigerian food. I was surprised, like it was very, very similar to Pakistani curries that we have. Yeah, it was a treat for me to have. Like it just felt like home cooked meal. You know? Felt really nice.
That's the thing, with Ade's food as well, because I think he's Nigerian, so Nigerian food is similar thing. They have the fufu, we have asida. Okay. Similar things like the doughy.
The doughy thing.
Yeah, we do have the similar stuff. but we cook it different. And then they have their curry as well, okra curry, where they cook it with like fish and stuff. Also, we cook it with like beef. So it's like similarity as that. And you got as well, like I think I'll watch one of your episodes where you're talking about the shai. You have a shai. We call it shai.
Yeah. You guys have shai and we with chai.
Yeah, chai. Yeah. So it's like similar. We have similar stuff, and you have the biscuits and all that stuff is like similar stuff.
It's a huge overlap.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the stuff that I love. That this is the kind of stuff that we can now relate over.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an overlap.
100%.
That's always fun.
We have a lot of
talk
like
about.
some countries you see them have a lot in common.
Yep.
It's like so it's like that's what people can actually bond over in Australia.
Yeah.
That's the thing where like when you come to when you say multicultural, then you'll be like the base of multicultural.
Yeah, of course.
Where you see like people like from this country, from that country, and you realize like I had this, and they're like, oh wow, we have the same thing. And then that's where like it's like an icebreaker basically.
Yeah. I'll bring you back to when you were still younger before coming to Australia, right?
Yep.
So early on, let's say you're 5 years old, you've just moved to Egypt and you're spending the next 5 years over there, and you're one of 8 siblings. Your parents are doing it hard. They're working 2 jobs, trying to support everyone. Your older siblings are also working, trying to make it work. For you personally growing up, where did you find your place in that household? Like what idea of your own identity did you have growing up in a household like that?
On a house was tough to find an identity because you're still as young as a kid.
Yeah.
And you try to find your way, try to fit in.
Yeah.
But we just live day by day because you don't know what you want to be or what you want to think. You just want to just survive to the next day basically because you never know what mom and dad has to offer and if we're going to make it out of the day or not make it out of the day. So it was just like, for me, I just want to, as a kid, I just want to go out and play, run around in the streets. We'll go running around with friends or go like stealing lemons and stuff from people's trees and stuff like that. So like just to growing up as a child, we had that innocent childhood because we don't know what our parents were struggling
and
what
the reality is.
What the reality is. And then when you grow up and you reflect back on it, like, wow, that's like, it was hard. Yeah.
And like now, if you look back at what Sudan was going through at that time in 2010, you would have realized that what did my parents actually go through, to actually get us out of there.
Yeah, 100%. So like what my parents want, and then I hear stories as well from my parents now. They're like, oh, to get you here was struggle or to flee from Sudan because we had to sell everything. And then like the house we had and like everything, we didn't have much, but whatever we had, even my dad was like, we'll sell them. Even clothes sometimes we sell so you can try to get the money to get on a bus or get on a ship or something to get to the next destination.
So was Sydney the first place that you guys came to?
Yeah, so when we came to Australia, so first state we came to was Sydney. We lived in Fairfield.
Okay.
Fairfield was like more of Syrians and Arabs. So they put us in Fairfield. And I think because it's easier because my parents speak Arabic. So they went there to Fairfield and then they can communicate with the locals. When they go to the supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was much easier for my parents and stuff. Growing up there, so that's why I stayed at Sydney first.
What's the Sudanese community in Sydney like? Is it massive? Is it small?
Oh, it's massive. So we have Sudanese communities. We have them in like different parts. So you got like the more of the top Sudanese thing. You have Blacktown. You have like the different tribes of Sudanese communities. So you have in Blacktown you have the Four and the Nuba, and then in the Liverpool you have more of the Arab Sudanese, they have like their own thing.
Yeah.
And then when they back in the days used to all come together. When they have the Eid and festivals and stuff, we'll come together, we'll celebrate as one. And I think somewhere in between like 2007, 2000 something, they started to separate a little bit, branch out, or just like everyone start doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I'm from this tribe, you from that tribe.
Okay.
So I was like,
so that tribal identity is still very relevant over here.
Yeah, it is still. So
does it ever become violent?
No, it doesn't become violent. Everyone just mind their own thing, keep to themselves.
Yeah.
Or sometimes with but the thing is with Sudanese, they're very they got that culture, installed in them, and then they got that hospitality, or they got that, where someone passed away or something bad happened, they'll still come there and comfort you. It doesn't matter what tribe it is, everyone comes together for that thing.
Okay.
But most of the time, everyone got their own thing because just the suburbs are so far, I think.
Yep.
Everyone got just mind their own things.
Okay, so now that you're in Australia now with your family, what was I think Sydney would have been where you actually started to get an idea of, who you are as a person, right? That's where your early childhood memories would start forming and, stuff that you can remember. So
when we came to Australia, my mom, she's a big, she's from the countryside of Sudan. So they're from the farms and all that. So she loves to travel a lot.
Okay.
So when we came to Australia, she still had that mentality of let's travel. Every time we'll stay in a year or two, she wants to travel. So we traveled from Sydney to Orange, from Orange to Brisbane, from Brisbane. We moved around like 9 times.
Okay.
We had to change schools and stuff. So growing up is like you learn how to fit in everywhere. And it was a bit hard, but sometimes like you learn from here, from there, from there. You see around what's happening, and then you pick your kind of group of people. So that's where you try to build your own identity, or try to have something where you fit in.
But moving around, like for example, if you guys went to Orange, I doubt that there would be a lot of Sudanese people in Orange, would there?
Nah, they were actually, to be surprising, there were quite a small families. Like there was like 10 or 12 families.
Yeah.
And they were in Sudan, but they were like, when they see like over there, they will come around and bond together.
Oh, so there's a community
there.
there.
There's a little community there, but majority of Orange is all like, all the white people there,
Yep.
So it's like, you still get them looks. What are you doing? It's not, what are you doing here? Yeah. So out of, far, you still get that around everywhere. Racism still exists. All that still exists. So we're growing there as well. Growing up in Orange, I think was one of the hardest states or place we grew up in Australia.
Okay.
Because the other places, we have a lot of Africans or a lot of multicultural people to understand.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me something about that. Like when you're growing up, what are those, like you mentioned, the little subtle things that you would feel from people growing up? Especially as a young African guy, people tend to associate a negative taboo against
100%.
For like just the dark-skinned people for no good reason.
100%. So even growing up here in Australia as an African child, you get that back then, and that was like in the early ages, like in 2000 and from 2005 and upwards when we came here. You still get it, like people still new to get colored people coming over here, and they try to so you get like that look like, what are you doing here? You don't belong. And then even now until now as a grown man, like in this age, you still see it, but you see it very subtle. You still like people are giving you that look, and you'll feel it inside you because where it's coming from. But they give you that fake smile as well. Yeah. So it is. I feel like racism still exists.
It's just not as apparent anymore. Like people know that they can't see it. Yeah. But but deep down they do think about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the mental barrier is still there.
They don't say it to your face, but they'll show it, and you'll feel it. Growing up as black male in Australia is hard. It's not hard as like in America or other countries. Yeah. But still, you get like that. Yeah. Sense of like not belonging.
Not belonging. Yeah. Like you're an outsider basically.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
And no matter how much time, like you've spent all of your teenage and your young adult life and now your adulthood all in Australia. So by all means and standards, like by your own experience, you are Australian.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I am. I'm a citizen now, so I am Australian.
Yeah, you are
basically.
Australian.
So that's the thing. But as well, like before jumping on the show, I realized they were like maybe say in 2017, 18, where they had that Melbourne thing going on. Yeah. Like, South Sudanese, epic gangs, Melbourne, that. So when any Sudanese person try to do something or they hear the word Sudanese, they assume that was like, we're all gang related or we're all part of that one group, I was like, that's not the case. That's why I was like, even when I jumped on the thing, I try to educate people. I try to say, look, we do something. I try to, like, I would like to believe that I want to be a role model for the young ones to move around or educate the people that the white Australians audience or the ones at home sitting. Like we're not all built the same. There are some people that do mistakes, and you can't just judge them for who they are.
And they exist in all ethnicities. Yeah. Like you even have like full-blown white Aussie criminals out there as well, gang leaders as well, right? And the same is true for the Lebanese community as well. Like there are legitimate gang leaders out there. There are gangs out there, but majority of the people are just normal everyday neighbors that you see on the street, right? Yeah.
That you don't judge a person by their color or by their ethnicity. You judge by their character. Like,
exactly.
If someone he does bad, that's when he does bad. Not everyone else who's related to him is doing bad, So,
and in that vein, I think what is necessary is like your story, for example, right? Or Janelle's story, Ade's story, or anybody else, right? I think these stories it's very important for these stories to come out in front of people as an alternate narrative against that way of thinking. Because the problem is that people internalize whatever they consume through the media, right? Yep. If the media is constantly portraying just the negative side of one ethnicity over and over again, that is the image that builds in the people's mind.
100%.
Right? And unless you actually sit down and talk to these people from the community, people like yourself who are trying to do better, who are trying to be a role model and bring an alternative voice, for your ethnicity, that is the only way that people's minds and hearts can eventually change.
100%. And the topic doesn't come out normal by itself until someone brings it out. So they need to normalize these topics more, because now it's like a lot of people try to avoid it, where they say, no, don't say that about that. You know, it's bad. You might get cancelled. You might
Yeah,
do this.
yeah.
So they told you to avoid it. Try to be more avoidant and not, face the other way. But I say normalize these topics because
Yeah.
there's some kids actually feeling like they don't belong. They feel that racism the thing because you don't see it as a parent or your kid is going through something over there, and you over here just trying to avoid it because you think like, it doesn't happen no more. It's not around. But you still get a lot of kids that get bullied. They get that racism stuff on them. So it's like it's good to shine a light on that every now and then.
And even in workplaces, not just with kids, even in workplaces, there are like casual comments, like they're just jokes. People pass it off as jokes, but they don't really realize that it has an impact.
Yeah, 100%. It's like you get like me as growing up in schools as a kid. If like how like kids that listen to music or rap songs and stuff and use the N word, and then you see what kids try to use it against the black kids, and then they say the N word, and then the kid reacts, and because he's instigated, he reacts, and then he does something, and then the kid goes to detention or goes to the office, and they tell him why you hit him, but you don't know what the other kid did to me. He said that was something that really like hurt me, so I reacted like that way. But sometimes like, no, you can't do that, so you get in trouble. Why am I getting in trouble for? You instigated me. You made me look like the guy I didn't want to do something
as the bad guy. Aye. Now that's always good. That's what I'm also trying to bring these alternate stories to the forefront, because that is the only way that we all grow. Unless we actually try to recognize each other and try to celebrate our differences, that is the only way we grow.
100%.
So okay, so coming back to now your teenage up until this point, right? Did you always have this like we already went over the fact that you always had this hustle mentality, right? So based on that experience growing up, did you always want to have like a business, or did you always want to do something out of the box? Like what I'm trying to understand is that getting into MKR, that's a food contest, right? It's a cooking contest, but you're not really related to the food or the cooking industry as such.
Nah.
So was it just because of Janelle that you went through?
I joined the show,
actually
because that was the main reason to help out to achieve a dream. But in that case as well, I found something that I liked, passionate. I was passionate about it. I wanted to cook always. Like I have a home where like I have my siblings that love cooking. Mom and dad always cook at home as well. So I learned from my mom. So I lived by myself as well, the cooking type. When I jumped on the show, like cooking wasn't like a big thing for me, but I was like, what I can do with the cooking. So I took the opportunity and I want to do something with it. So it was like, I always wanted to do business because I finished college and I went to uni and did from college did diploma. So I wanted to do like something with business related. So I did business diploma. So I was like, I might use that. I want to use that one day. I want to be something. I don't want to work 9 to 5. I want to be a businessman. That's my whole thing. But when the cooking thing came into it, I was like, oh, perfect. So I can do something with that as well. And something I love. And cooking for me is not just about the food. It's like what you can do with it. Like what I always say on the thing. I was like, cooking is like that's like form of love language. Food is of love language. You share around with people. So we did that. As soon as I came out of the show, I used that spice mix. I wanted to put in put like the family as well on. I try to do something nice for them and for my dad, his dream to come true, because my dad he loves cooking as well. He does festivals and the spice mix. Like he always wanted to make something out of it. So I was like, I'm here, so this thing is a perfect opportunity. Let me open a business with the spice mix, highlight Sudanese culture, and showcase what our family can do.
So this spice mix thing, the agashi,
yes.
Agashi. So it's something that your dad has always been doing, like for a while?
My dad is known as the agashi guy, basically. So he's the guy. He makes the mix. The spice makes the rub, and then he sells it to people, or he makes the skewers and people they'll come by of him, or when we do festivals, he'll be the one selling it, so they know him as that guy thing. So I got that. It was a family secret recipe. He passed it down to me, and then I tweaked it a little bit, so make it suitable for the market. And then I had to start from the scratch as well. So I was like, all right, then I went out there, packaged it, got the labels, got the barcode. Like started from scratch, totally scratch, where I lost basically most of the money in there. But that's how it is with every business. You put in money to make money. Of course. And I believed in the product. I do believe in the product until now. I believe in it. One day it's gonna get there. So I was like, might as well, just believe in what you do, and then one day you'll get there.
So tell me about agashi. Like, explain agashi to me. I don't know about it.
Agashi is like a Sudanese spice rub, or just a mix. So we do with like all the ingredients we use in Sudan, the most common ingredients.
Sure.
So the cumin, paprika, ginger, garlic, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We mix them together, and then we make it like a marinade,
Yeah.
a dip, a sauce. Very, very versatile. You can use it for a lot of things.
Okay.
So my family, my dad's been using it for a lot of stuff. So I grew up eating it, and he would cook with it all the time.
Mm.
And something that is very tasteful. Once you have it once,
Yeah.
you get addicted.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, you know, so it's like, yeah, it's like a spice rub
Mm.
with peanut butter and stuff.
Okay.
So when you taste it, you know,
Okay.
you're like, oh, I know what it is. So.
Okay. Nice one. Nice one. I can't wait to try that one. So
Yeah.
is with Agashi, like you it's under the name of the spice guy, isn't it? The Agashi guy.
The Gashi guy. So the Gashi guy that's my TikTok name. So
Okay.
as I named it as.
Yeah.
But on the trading business name is Monzir. So
Monzir.
it's Monzi and Junoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll put it as Monzir, combine
Monzir
it together. So that's the name we have, and then I'll put that as the business name, the website. So thing. But the name of the product is Agashi. Agashi is the name of the product. It's like Agashi Dugga. It's Dugga mix.
Dugga.
Dugga, yeah, it's like a rub
Okay.
or seasoning. That's what it is in.
Okay. In Sudanese language.
Yeah.
So
So
okay.
Dugga,
So it's basically a seasoning for rubs like
Yeah.
barbecues and stuff. And
When you say Dugga, is like a lot of countries they use that Dugga. You got like Dugga is like a name of a spice. Not a name of a spice. Is the thing where they say like a spice in other countries or in
Okay.
Arabic or something.
Okay.
So Dugga,
Okay. And Agashi is the name of the spice.
Yeah, that's-
Interesting. So and that is available at Monzil on the website
So,
that
yeah.
you guys have set up.
So it's available on our website on monzo.com.au, or you can get it from there's a lot of airway taxes. The website you can go through Instagram, Facebook, or TikToks.
Yep.
You can go there. I do start selling at festivals
Yep.
and cooking demos and stuff when I'm like out and about.
Yep.
But yeah, if people want to get it, you can reach out. But it's
Yeah.
very accessible.
Okay, perfect. So if anybody is interested in trying out the Agashi mix that Monzir is talking about, I'll leave a link for their website,
Yes.
and wherever you can get it ordered, I'll leave it in the description. So if anybody wants to check it out, you can. I'll definitely check it out. It's like all of the spices that you mentioned, like cumin, paprika, garlic, and all that. That sounds very similar to the spices that we usually have.
Yeah.
In a lot of our rubs. So that it would be interesting to check out.
It is very common and very relatable as well to everyone. So it's like when people taste it, like, oh, it's similar to that. So it's like very versatile.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring it with me, but I didn't have time. I was rushing.
Okay.
But yeah, next time for sure.
Okay. I'll talk to you about the personal side of MKR now. Okay. So obviously you guys have been on the show. You first the decision to actually go on. Okay. I understand that you and Janelle hadn't been dating for that long when you actually decided to go on.
No, we weren't dating for long. So we started off as like friends.
Yeah.
And then we started dating officially like a year in. And then, but we normally like cook together. In that year time, she'll come over, I'll go to her house. Like, I wouldn't go to her house, but she'll come over and then we'll cook together all the time. And then we try each other's food. She's a big like in desserts and cakes and stuff. So she impressed me in that.
Okay.
She secured the bag. And then after that, I was like, and for me, I was like, I'll cook her like my traditional food.
Yeah.
Like I'll cook her like Egyptian food or something like full, or I'll cook her like Sudanese stuff, and then she'll try it. She'll love it. But so when she applied for MKR and stuff, and she wanted to go on, and then something happened with her friends, so she couldn't go through. So she called me one day. I was driving to class. She called me up. She's like, babe, I need someone to go with me or something like that. I was like, and she's like, I need someone like urgent. I was like, all right, I put my hands up. I was like, don't worry. I'll volunteer. I'll help you out. Because I know she always talked to me about it. She's like, oh, I'm going to go on this show. I love it. I watch it religiously. Like, that's her dream, basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll go with it. So I had to put everything on hold. And then I had like 2 weeks to apply. And then they came to my house. And then I did the, what it's called, like the practice run or the, so I did the audition. I did the audition.
Yeah.
And then they tried out and they're like, we love you. Your food is amazing. Come through.
Yeah.
We went. And then when we went in the show, first thought of ours, we were like, she was like, I don't care if I didn't make it, just long as we just do good and we've been in the show. I just want to see how it is. We didn't expect to win the show or just make it. So we went in there, we cooked our own food. And yeah, from there, like, for me, my intention was just to help her out to achieve her dreams.
And somewhere along that line, as you guys started progressing along the show, you realized that, okay, maybe this has some potential in it, right? So that we can make something out of this.
100%. The first time I realized that actually we can do this is after our episode, the instant restaurant.
Yeah.
And then we cooked together. She did Turkish food, I did Sudanese food, and then we cooked the lamb cutlets dish with the spice mix, the Dugga Agashi.
Yeah.
And then the judges are like, wow, it was amazing. Like everyone loved it. It was the first 10 out of 10 in the show. So I was like, nah, that's it.
Yeah.
That gave me the confidence as well. Gave us the confidence to move forward.
That whatever we're doing, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like our comfort booster for the next level. So we keep continued. But even though we continued, like things will get harder.
Yeah.
But for us, like we have the motivation. Oh, we'll do like people. The thing is easy. Like it gets hard, and then you like the pressure and the thing. Like you have to practice. Well, it's like I'll tell you now. Like we're in the in the middle. We were in the middle like of the show. After we finished instant restaurants, we came to the cook-offs. At the end, they will tell us, you have one day to practice, one day to thing. So we'll cook at night time. And then when we finish filming, we'll go home. She will stay up from like 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. writing recipes on the computer. And I will sleep. I'll wake up at 7 a.m., go to the shops, grab all the ingredients, come back home, prep them. And then she'll wake up later and then we'll practice. Where you get other people that will like say, we're going to go for drinks. Yeah. Use our time like, for drinks, sort of connect. But we're like, nah, we got to practice. We want this. We were hungry for the bag. We had that hustle mentality, Yeah. So we would do this like, we would keep doing it. We would lose sleep and stuff to get to that point. And then we were like, so when we cook, we come to cook, we know our dish has already been tested. We know what we're doing. So it's like, let's get the bag. So
So over that time, during those 3 months when you guys were in that hustle mode and trying to win it all, how do you think that affected your relationship with Janelle during that time?
So actually with the show, so it was like other there's two things will bring us together or break us, make us or break us. So for us, I think we got closer. We learned a lot about each other because the pressure will bring like the worst out of you or the best out of you.
Yeah.
So she's seen another side of me, I seen another side of her. Like she was also assuming, she was like, oh, I don't know if people gonna like me. She had that perspective. I was like, do you like people love you for who you are, like And then I had that perspective of like, I don't know if I'm good enough and stuff. And then we were just like always had each other's backs. And the thing we learned so much of each other. We had each other's back, and then the competition just brought us closer because she knows what she can do. I believed in her, she believed in me, and like, all right, well, we can do this. So that's what actually the thing. I feel like we got stronger as a couple.
No, that's a very nice story to tell at a party, perhaps. If anybody comes up to you and asks, "How did you guys meet?" Oh yeah, we just won a reality show together.
Something I say suddenly because we like when we go to events and we go to like places, and then people like, "Hey guys, where he's from?" Like why is he or something? We say, we want a cooking show, we want MK and stuff. They're like, "No way!" And then I was like. I'm just like humble, just chill. And John's like, "Why you always downplay stuff?" I was like, "What can I do? I'm not trying to be like brag and be humble. I'm just trying to chill with it."
Yeah. So once this show wrapped up and then you guys got back, obviously the high of winning it that would have subsided. So now then you guys decided that okay, what can we do with this platform that we have now? Yep. We have some people following us. We have few TV channels that are interested in us. Like, did you guys sit down and have a chat about okay, what are we going to do about this moving forward? As a couple, as business partners?
Yeah, as a couple, we did have to sit down basically, but everything was like hectic on because we came out of the show and our parents didn't know about us as well. So she introduced me to her grandparents.
After the show?
Yeah, because we jumped on the show because we were filming through the whole time. We were filming the whole time. And then when we jumped out of the show, the first episode came out.
Yeah.
The first, like, the backstories, the ad came out. We walked in, I was like, so, saying, the highlight the page, saying, our parents didn't know about us going on the show prior to the show. So we guys gonna see how it goes, and then that's what got the audience attention. And what actually at home, mom she was watching. She's like, "I thought you said you're going to Melbourne for a boys trip." I was like, "Yeah, wow." And then she's like, she didn't tell her mom. She knew about us, but her grandparents didn't know. Her uncles. So when we came out of the show, she took me to her grandparents' house when I bought flowers, bought stuff, and I went to her house, and then just probably, and then my mom and dad actually they came to the grand finals, and then and her mom came as well, and then she first time meeting my parents was like the grand finals when she was cooking.
Wow.
So the story is like full hectic.
That's crazy. like that doesn't happen to anyone,
Yeah,
it's like a very rare story.
Our story is very rare. So like that, and then when we came out of the show. Came out of church, so we had some explaining to do. So we did that, and then we sat down. We're like, all right, what do you want to do with the thing? How you want to move forward?
Yep.
So we're like, she was like, let's learn, make the most out of it.
So now beyond MKR, obviously it's been a year since you guys won it, and now you guys are working on your own ventures. So like personally for yourself, where do you find yourself personally? How are you doing? What are your plans for the future?
So as an individual, for me, I want to pursue my career. Like I want to do modeling. Okay. I want to become a model. I want to become a fitness. Coach, and I just want to try to move forward with the business and try to take it to the next level. Yep. Where I can try to get into the big supermarkets and fill up the gaps or fill up the gap, like and highlight and basically educate people about our culture and the cuisine.
Sure. So the fitness and modeling is something that you've always been interested in?
Yeah, I think as a kid I always wanted to be a fitness and modeling person.
Yeah.
Even like in school I was like weighing 65 kilos. I was a skinny dude, tall, lanky.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I want to do something,
Yeah.
So I want to be like like a model kind of like just like clothes, looking good. Like that's like something like a hobby of mine.
No, and I've seen some of your some of the interviews that you've done before and after MKR and everything, and some of the photo shoots that you've also done. Like you do have a natural sense of style and aesthetic, so it naturally works that way. You do have the height and physique for it as well.
Thank you.
So I hope it works out for you.
Hopefully,
right? Yeah. Hopefully. Tell me about your relationship with fitness. Have you always been somebody who's into fitness? Like have you always done sports and stuff?
I was I was this sports in school.
Mm-hmm.
Did sports in school as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I like to run around, have that athletic background and stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, to come to fitness, I learned that from my older brothers growing up because my older brother had a old gym at the backyard, like them rusty ones, them jail gyms kind of.
Yeah.
So we had that. They would train. I'm like sitting there watching them. I want to grow up to the thing.
Yeah.
And then growing up as well, the fitness thing helped me become a better person basically. Because if I'm going through a lot or something, I'll go to the gym.
Yes.
If I'm stressed or something, I'll go to the gym. Fitness was like always the thing, that coping mechanism for me.
Yep.
So that's what, and I'll see like I wanted to be a fitness role model or fitness instructor or coach to help people that who's obese, or so people who like want to be on that level, or just to get them moving through life. So fitness for me is like something that I want to do daily. It's like part of my routine, but sometimes like coping mechanism for me.
Yeah.
Like if for struggle or for something just to,
Plus, I also feel that people who have a hectic routine, right? Who have a lot on their plate, they're doing multiple things at the same time, multiple hustles. I feel working out and staying active, whether it's sport or whether you're working out at the gym or anything, staying active, that actually helps you maintain that discipline, to do
100%.
all of that stuff together.
Yeah, because whatever you learn that you learn in the gym, disciplines, consistency, and all that, if you apply it out in life, will get you further in life. Where you can become a man of your own.
Yes.
Hold yourself accountable.
Yes.
Like stuff like that. That's why I did gym. Like I always feel like before I was skinnier, I was like I didn't follow the diet.
Yeah.
I didn't I couldn't train. So when I start getting that habit and I'll get more consistent, I held myself accountable of like if I eat this or I did this, and if I'll become small. Yeah.
Sure. Nice one. Really appreciate that. I'm somebody who's trying to explore my own relationship with fitness as I go. I found that I've been through phases when I used to work out, and then there was a huge gap when I didn't, and then I got back to it. But the difference in my attitude towards life is immense. Once you start working out, your whole perspective changes. It like you feel a lot better about yourself.
100%.
About your life.
There's a lot for coping mechanism. Even they told you if you're going through a lot of like mental stress or anxiety or stuff like that.
Sure.
Even if you go to therapist or thing, they will tell you, do you train? If you go to the doctor, do you train?
Yeah.
Do you eat good? Like that's part of your health, part of your. So if you do that, takes away a lot of all the bad habits, all that stuff of you.
And in terms of the business, what are the goals that you've set for yourself for 2024, the new year coming up?
I got a lot set up. Like I have in my mind. Normally, I write my own goals as well, like on list, and I'll try to take them off. But for next year, 2024, I want to try to get it into stores where like I want to fill up the gap in the market with the Sudanese and African cuisine.
Because you don't see a lot of it in the supermarkets.
You don't see it. You don't see it. And that's one thing. And the second thing, I want to highlight it as well. I want to educate people about our food, about our culture, our spices. So I was like, if I get an opportunity, I'll take it and thing. But as well, like that's the biggest goal of mine, to just to put it there. It's not just only for me, just like I want to make sure like Australia has that, that gap filled up where like you don't see it at these days. You go to Woolies or Coles, you have the international section, but you have like, you got the Indian side or you got the Asian side, but you don't get African.
Yeah, you don't.
So you don't have the African, not only just Sudanese, just the African part. So I was like, if we have a section there, it will be wonderful. So hopefully my product will be the first.
Have you ever thought about going down the restaurant route? Like if you or Janelle would want to do a restaurant together at some point?
We did talk about that a lot.
Sure.
And I did my own research as well.
Yeah.
I talked to like chefs, business owners of restaurants. And like for me, it's not something I want to do because if you open a restaurant, you have to be there 24 hours. You have to be the face of it. and that's not gonna give you the exposure you want, exposure you need. Because if you can go out and branch out, do interviews, do stuff, jump on shows, jump on festivals, try to move around more, you get more exposure.
Okay.
That rather than you just sitting in one spot.
Fair enough.
Because especially for my thing, I want to branch out. I want to do a lot of stuff. So it was a best thing for me to keep running around.
Sure. For you, it's more about promoting your personal brand.
Yep.
As Monzir yourself.
Yes.
You know, to.
Yep. And we did have a lot, like with me and Junoon, like lined up already. Because she does desserts and cake business, and she got her own work as well. She works another job, and I worked on another job. So I was like, restaurant's not for me.
Yeah, of course.
Especially after COVID as well, with the inflation, with the big hit with COVID, like a lot of business went downhill. So with restaurants is a bit risky. So yeah.
Perfect, mate. Perfect. Right. So I normally end the conversation with my final question with all my guests, right? Yeah. So based on all of your experiences, right? You were born in Sudan, then you went to Egypt, then coming to Australia, growing up as a refugee, facing a very, sometimes a difficult childhood, all of those hurdles that don't get talked about enough, but those hurdles do exist in society for refugees and immigrants coming up in the system, right?
100%.
So going through all of that, your MKR experience, the response that you've gotten since then, now trying to make something off of it. Based on all of those experiences, right, Monzir, what is the one nugget of truth that life has taught you that if anybody asks you, you can give them?
Be yourself, be authentic as you can, because once you lose that person, you can never get him back. So just try to build on, and it will just follow your heart.
Yeah.
Whatever your passion is, rely on, and just trust in your faith and have belief, or like whatever. Live your life in the hands of the Creator.
Yes. Yep.
So just like whatever meant for you will come for you.
Will come for you. You just have to make an effort for it.
100%.
Right.
So go hustle, be yourself, try to make something for yourself.
Perfect, mate. Well, it was lovely having you on the podcast. Always lovely talking to people, who are trying to make a better name for their community, who are trying to set a good role model for their own community. It's always inspiring, mate. And thank you for coming all the way here.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for having me on your podcast as well.
For sure, mate. And look, I wish you all the best with Monzil and with the spices, and hopefully I can see you on shelves at Coles and Woolies very, very soon.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Yeah, hopefully, inshallah. Right. And for all of you guys who have been watching, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, kindly take a second out of your time to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you haven't done it already, follow us on all of our social media platforms. All of the highlights from this conversation and from all of my other conversations are going to be up there, so do check that out. It's really shareable content. Until next time, this has been In The Gap. I have been Hassan, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.